Hi, I'm the Ben Sorensen. You may not have heard of me yet, but you've probably heard of my teammate, Catrina Allen.
You know, part of my decision to come to DGA was hearing that we're signing the Ben Sorensen from Kansas City.
That is going to be so perfect because again, he's like playing in local C tiers around Kansas City, but we'll put it to that.
It's the C tier tour that does it for me.
Yeah, I won a C tier. This one wasn't even in advance. Hi, I'm Ben Sorensen, Team DGA for 2022, and this is what's in my bag. I've been using the Steady BL for putting. Really like its straight flight and kind of shallow feel in the hand. I can get good spin on it since I'm a spin putter. So I've got a couple, swirly gray one and this white one. For shorter putts or putts where I want a little bit more consistent finish on it, or maybe like jump putt approaches, I've been using a Pro Series Steady. This is a 2020 edition in particular. Really like the feel on this plastic and has a pretty straight flight with a nice consistent finish. Oh dear. Hi Alexis. Can you go away? Can you? No. Can you? Here, go over there. Go over here. Go over here. Alexis. Alexis.
2 hours later.
Okay, after that brief interlude, if there's approaches where I don't want the disc to roll away on me, then I'll be using this Blowfly 1.
Oh, sorry, Ben.
Oh, hi Tyler, how's it going?
When'd you get here?
What are you doing here?
I'm just gonna practice a couple putts. The noise isn't gonna bother you, is it?
No, but I thought you wanted me to house sit for you.
Yeah.
Oh.
I gotta practice my
Oh,
putts.
okay, while you practice. Okay. So anyways, like I was saying, the Blowfly 1 comes in the sweet royal blue plastic this year. Really liking this because it's super flexible. It hits and it sits. Throwing putter. I got this Flex PL Steady BL. Really liking this for straight shots, and then might have a soft finish, or I can get it to finish a little bit right depending on what kind of angle I give it out of my hand. Moving on to approach discs. Got a couple here. Jawbreaker Zone. I use this mostly for forehand shots where I want something I can throw kind of flat, get a soft finish, and then it'll sit. The Jawbreaker plastic is pretty soft. It's not going to get a big skip or really go anywhere. I can also throw it for turnover forehands. In between that and the next disc is this SP Flex breaker with this sweet Sasquatch stamp on it. This is really straight, either backhand or forehand. I can get it to go really straight and then just have a soft, dependable finish, left or right, depending on backhand or forehand. Got this one from C-Ep or Chris Ep. And then last, I've got an ESP Zone with this awesome Disc Golf Podcast stamp and this rad B-Rad die on it. This is mostly forehand approaches, or if I need a skip shot one way or the other. But I'm using this for approaches, probably 200 and in. Move on to mid-ranges. Right now I'm rocking a DL Quake. This is for backhand straight shots or turnovers. This one's slightly beat in, it wears in really nice. I can just kind of put it out flat or a little bit of Anheuser and get it to fly anywhere I want. Really, really wonderful disc. For straight shots or slightly overstable shots, I've been throwing this swirly Rift from the DGA series in, I think, 2020. Super swirly, really pretty, and really straight, dependable flight. Last, I've got this LE Swirl Quake. Really nice, dependable, overstable disc. In the Kansas wind, I'm throwing this backhand often. Occasionally, if I need a little more distance out of a forehand than maybe a zone shot, I might jump up to this Quake and throw it on a forehand. Go on to fairways, which are probably the disc that I throw the most. We'll start out with one of my favorite discs, the Pipeline. I like the SP, and I like them pretty domey. This is kind of like that DL Quake, where it's a really dependable straight flyer, and then depending on what angle you give it out of your hand, you can get it to go right or left. Probably throwing this on shots, I don't know, 330 to 350 maybe. One small step up from that in stability is the second run pipeline. This one's a little flatter, and the second run in particular is a little stiffer. I was throwing this a lot last weekend at the C tier I played and won, the Rosedale Cup.
It's the C tier tour that does it for me.
Next up from that, I've got a PL Bonsai. I think this one's about 170 grams. This is one of my most thrown discs, a really straight flight initially, and then a nice consistent finish left at the end. A little more stable than that is this Max Weight Matt Bell Ice Bonsai. Again, similar flight, just a little more overstable, and this one's pretty brand new. Oh, hi, you back?
Do you have any torrents?
No. I haven't thrown him enough to know if I like him or not. Oh, did you see that? He's gonna edit that out. One step up in stability from that is the SP Tsunami. This one's got a cool Grape Crush stamp. In Kansas, we've got a lot of wind, and this is really good at fighting the wind. Even if there's a strong headwind, I know I can rely on this SP Tsunami to fight the wind, get good distance, good glide, and have a nice consistent finish left. I'll also throw this one on forehands if I want a little more distance than either of these other two discs. I throw a lot of forehand approaches, or if off the tee maybe, I'm going to this Z Raptor. It's kind of right in between the Tsunami, which is going to be a little bit straighter on a forehand shot, and not quite as much as this Hellfire we're going to look at next. I'm 90% of these shots I'm throwing this on forehand. I want it to go really straight and then have a finish at the end. And the Hellfire, this disc is fantastic for big skips or if you're throwing a disc in the wind. Really overstable, really flat, feels great on forehands. Mostly throwing this one on forehand, but if I need a skip, I'll throw it on backhand. But mostly forehand and really consistent fit. Moving on to distance drivers, I've got one PL Rogue in the bag right now. This is for probably max distance shots or flat to turnover shots. I can throw this one pretty hard and flat or with a little bit of Anheuser on backhand and get it to go really straight, finish right, or finish straight. This disc is really cool. This is a Glow Hurricane from the DGA original series, dyed by B-Rad Dyes. This awesome kind of cosmic pattern on it, and it's like 168 gram, slightly domey Hurricane. This thing is a bomber. Throwing this one 360, maybe 400. And this one thrown flat will get just a little bit of turn and then come back left. Not usually throwing this one forehand. This is my most thrown PL Hurricane. Nice dome on it. I like for backhand discs in particular. This one I've been throwing for a little while. It's perfectly seasoned. This one will hold up to a little bit of wind. Most of the time it's going to ride really straight and then have a consistent finish. I'll throw this one on forehands as well. Similar flight there. One step up in stability from that is a Hurricane. This one's a little bit flatter than that other one and a little bit stiffer. This one I'm throwing if there's a moderate headwind or I just need a bigger finish one way or the other. I'll throw this one backhand or forehand. And this Hypercane, I'm loving this thing. This is a pretty new disc to the DGA lineup, but it's an awesome one. It's got really good glide, really good stability, but it's still got really good distance for being a 13-speed kind of overstable distance driver. Throwing this one definitely in the Kansas winds. I'll throw it forehand or backhand, skip shots, a little bit of everything. So that's the discs I'm throwing most often. I've got a couple others that I will throw depending on the course. One of which is Catrina Allen's new Vortex. This one is fantastic in the woods for hyzer flip-ups, or if I need like a backhand roller out of a fairway driver. This one's really nice. You can throw it on hyzer, get it to flip up and fly straight, or throwing flat, I can get it to fly straight and drift right. And then the sail. This is a 150 class PL sail, super domey. This is a really great woods disc or also roller disc. You can throw this about 60% power and get it to have a similar flight as a Hurricane, but on a much more controlled line. So that's all the discs that are in my bag the majority of the time. I don't have a ton else in there in my bag. I've got a DGA towel with me. I've got a Bushnell Sport 850. Shout out to Michael Sizemore from Bushnell for designing these things and getting them out to everybody. These are a really great tool, especially for courses that you maybe haven't played before or haven't played a ton, or maybe you end up in a weird spot on the fairway. I have a 3D printer, and I like to design mini markers. So I've usually got a couple in the bag, and honestly, they change all the time. So this is one I made, kind of inspired by a book from one of my favorite YouTube maker channels. I like to make stuff, and Bob Claggett. His book, Making Time, kind of inspired me to make putts and don't clang it. And then I've got this disc golf podcast meetup one at Lemon Lake. We went and had a meetup there last summer and played around at the 2010 World's Championship course, Lemon Lake. I have some people that I'd like to thank, particularly my wife for being super supportive of my disc golf career, always cheering me on. I have to shout out my buddy Trevor Schaefer, who was the first one to introduce me to disc golf, probably in 2008. I played once or twice, and for whatever reason, it didn't stick. I didn't get the bug. And then shout out to my friend Kyle and Kai Nelson, who invited me to play in, I think, February of 2017. And that was when I got hooked on disc golf. I've been playing, 70, 80, 100 rounds a year ever since. I'd also like to shout out Tyler and the Disc Golf Podcast. That's how I met him, was on the Disc Golf Podcast Slack group. And DGA, thanks for having me on the team in 2022. I'm looking forward to a good year.
Are you done?
Oh yeah, I'm done now.
Okay.
Did you make a lot of putts?
Yeah, was the chain sound distracting?
Yeah, I was like, ching,
Yeah.
ching, ching.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty on today. Check this out. Wind.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of that going on right now.
Okay, can you get out of here?
Yeah, okay. I'll just, can I come back for these? Oh, okay, just leave them?